Hello, everyone. My name is Kiran Kuritala, founder and CEO of End-to-End. Thank you so much for joining. Before we get started, it's important for you all to know who we are so that it gets a baseline. I got a chance to meet some of the people that have joined at Higher Education User Group at last week in Phoenix, and we had some great conversations and both at the booth and also at our session. So this is a follow-up to that. Just so you know, End-to-End is a 13-year-old company. We have been building APIs since the beginning of 2010s. And over the years, we built about 150 standard adapters and over 400 APIs that cover the entire student lifecycle from admissions all the way to graduation. Our adapters and APIs include integrations to learning management systems, student information systems, and the like. And we have, at End-to-End, over 250 years of collective experience implementing, integrating, and supporting higher education. Big part of my own personal experience was implementing big student information systems like PeopleSoft and Banner. And since 2010, we've been focused on integrating it with parking systems, housing system, financial aid, and other systems. And that is our focus. And as a result of our APIs and API first strategy, we have built a SaaS platform called Illuminate. You can check it out on illuminateapp.com, which serves over 425 customers. And these customers some customers use it to do some SaaS to SaaS integrations, and some customers use it from hub to spoke integrations. In fact, some of the people that are on the call are our customers on this call as well. Overall, Illuminate is an integration platform as a service that serves end-to-end several APIs and API transactions. We would love to show this to you, but we process over 3 million transactions a day on the platform because it supports a full API development lifecycle, everything from creating an API to deploying an API, and also certifying an API on different endpoints. And most importantly, after it is deployed, end users and partners alike can look at the throughput of the API and latencies as well. But we're not on this call to talk about APIs and API integration strategy. We are here to talk about AI. So AI is hot, AI is exciting, AI is everywhere. And a lot of the things that we are going to use in this conference or webinar today will cover a lot of different acronyms and terms, but we're not using this webinar as a way to teach you or train you about AI, but it will be good for you to understand some of the critical terms. So Tim, do you want to jump in here and use your AI expertise to kind of brief them on some of the quick topics anybody who's new to AI should know about or understand before we jump right in?
Yeah, just from a high level, the main two items on this that we'll be using is the machine learning and the natural language processing. The NLP is the main driver behind our AI interface. Basically, everything runs through that based on context. The predictive analytics, getting into that a little more, we've run quite a few different AI models for predicting things like grades, upcoming courses, resource restraints, quite an extensive list there. And I think those are the main three. I won't get much into the neural network sediment or deep learning right now, but I will get into those three a little bit later in one of the slides.
Yep. Just so you all know, Tim Savage is our enterprise architect, and he's on the call. And Chad Strunk, who's our VP of Operations, who's kind of acting as a fellow panelist here. He actually put in a comment in your chat. Familiar with yourself with the bottom bar of Zoom or the bar of Zoom where you can type in a question, and we'll be able to respond that. And Chad is monitoring that. So again, we are not here to talk about all things AI. What we are here to talk about is how we can use AI to truly transform higher education. And that's what excites us most. Because if you think about the vast ocean of AI, there's a lot of users out there, whether it's, if you're using Bard from Google, or obviously ChatGPT from OpenAI, or whatever, the Elon Musk released the Grok or something a couple of days ago. So there's a lot of different AI tools out there, but behind the scenes, they use a lot of different things. But the fundamental thing that anybody who wants to develop in AI needs to understand is this idea of natural language processing. Ultimately, until 2 years ago, when you want to build something, you need to know some kind of programming, whether it's a database programming from an RDBMS perspective, or object-oriented programming, and you need to you're thinking tables as list of files and folders. But with AI, you can kind of organize things or organize your thoughts just by typing in questions and answer and get the response back. But the way AI works is based on four main concepts. One is obviously the vast body of knowledge in the internet itself, which is available as a training data that we're consuming it and using it. But the second is you can feed it data. You can train the AI data on information systems, your student information system, learning management system, or any other data assets that you want to share. And that is what we are here to talk about. So imagine if ChatGPT can answer any question about which restaurant you go to, which hotel is good in a remote city you're trying to go to, or I don't know, talk to your friend in Korean or Vietnamese or whatever. So if ChatGPT can do that by connecting the world of knowledge, you can also use AI or build applications using AI to connect to the student information system and allow it to answer questions relevant to your job. So to support that, we are kind of taking you in the life of a student and also the life of an administrator that goes along with it. And again, there's a lot to pack here, so we will not be able to cover every single part of the workflow, but we at least want to show you what we have built as part of Lightleap, which is our AI platform for different administrative offices of the university, but also different student journey as well. So as I dig through it, we'll actually have a combination of just talking points and open discussion as well. But ultimately, before we answer about what is AI and how AI can truly help, ultimately we all have to remind ourselves that at the core of it, institutions are here to serve the students. Everything from admissions all the way to graduation. I think that's our goal that each institution subscribes to, whether you're working in the admissions office or the bursar's office or the registrar's office. All the administrative functions we are providing is to service that. However, to service it, and support the vision of a comprehensive student success, you need to service and support different stages of the student, all the way from recruiting, all the way to graduation. So recruiting as in recruit the best student, accept the admissions from the students as they apply, and ultimately make sure that every student gets graduated. However, the unfortunate thing is it's not that clean. Out of every 100 students that enter the top of the funnel, depending on the institution, less than 50% of them graduate. And can AI solve that is the question that we were trying to wrestle with. And we believe that the technology that we built with Lightleap helps transcend all these barriers and break the silos and allow you to truly meet the goals of the academy. So obviously, as I said, this is going to be the day in the life of different offices. So we're going to try to touch on different offices, and the first office that the student gets to is their admissions office, right? So student applies for admission, and a lot of times admissions offices have data in different systems, your CRM system like Slate or Salesforce, your student information system where they make decisions, or they make it in the CRM system, and ultimately try to service the student the best way possible. So what if we have an AI technology that can look through these systems and actually analyze and say, based on all the applicants that have submitted, I can rank these students based on data. And that's one thing we have as part of the LightleapAI. So as I said, there's multiple kind of touch points here in the platform. So I'm going to show you the demo part of it so that you can see what it would look like if a system is intelligent enough to be able to answer questions by looking at multiple systems. So I'm going to log in as an admissions counselor here. And again, feel free to drop any questions. You can use the chat window, or you can use the Q&A section if you want to ask it. But what, again and again, I'll remind you of this. LightLeap is not a student information system. LightLeap is a CRM system. It is a system that sits on top of these systems to listen to the information and answer pertinent questions for each of these office. So in a typical admissions office, you have different administrative functions you need to do. For example, what are the outstanding docs I need to clear? Who are the students that we send them acceptance letters to have not responded yet? Obviously, are there any reviews from the admissions office that have not submitted yet? And we'll talk about student success risks in a minute too. But ultimately, most important thing that an AI system can do for you is to rank your applicants based on current term. And this might look simple for now, even because on the surface, you might be looking at this data and saying, these are all the students that are ranked because they have good SAT score and high school GPA. However, this is where AI really becomes powerful. So AI can rank them based on many different things. This is where the deep learning concept and predictive analytics comes in really cool, is that it can read 10,000 rows and of applicant data and say, based on all the applicants you submitted, I can look at these core attributes and assign a ranking to each of the student based on what happened with students before. So which students, it's not just based on like qualitative metrics, like their SAT score, high school GPA, but also based on predictive analytics, where what students have accepted your admission, or what other attributes. So the way AI works is you can feed it data on what's called supervised learning, where it can analyze data based on the information that you input. But you can also do what's called unsupervised learning, where you feed it 10,000 rows of data or 100,000 rows of data with 1,500 columns each and say, find me the attributes that can allow me to identify which student is better fit for the institution. So that is what is happening here. When an admissions counselor goes here and says it, it basically ranks them based on the predictive analytic and giving you this answer. But after this, it's not making the decision for you. You have to click on submit for review, and the admissions counselor has to still review it, but it can color code it. Obviously, this is part of the Lightly platform, where it can identify patterns and recommend actions based on this data. And again, we are going to see this pattern again and again. Data, information, prediction, action. Ultimately, what LightLeap is not just a chatbot that would respond to dumb questions or publicly available information, but it responds to information that is in your student information system, and that's what makes it truly powerful, where you are giving it the body of knowledge, which is in the student information system. So let's assume that the admissions counselor has completed their admissions process, but the real problem we have with institutions is not just admitting students, but also making sure that every student that got admitted is better prepared for college. And I think that is where the biggest risk comes in. So what if the admissions counselor wants to go above and beyond and say, I've decided we have to admit the students because this is what we need to meet our enrollment needs, or we need to make sure that we service all the students that apply, but some of the students are not prepared for college. And this is where AI can do the same thing: data, information, action. So when you run the show matrix student, it runs an analysis based on the data they submitted on the CRM, but also data in the student information system and says, these are the students that were successful in the last 10 years, and these are the students that are not successful. Based on that, we've identified these are the at-risk students. And this risk conditions can be based on their high school GPA or SAT score, or based on other data that's in student information system, where in this student, John's both siblings dropped out. And his parental income was not that high, but the acceptance rate is high because it's in a community college, but the chance of completing degree is low. So this is where AI can help identify the patterns and allow you to truly fix the problem as well. So let's talk about action. So this is our first chance to enter the action button. So I'm going to assign an AI tutor, and so that the student, it recommends an AI tutor saying, based on the student's learning history and what happened in the high school, I'm going to assign them 3 learning packages, and I'm going to add all 3 lesson packages. So I've assigned them, and now I notified the student. Right now, Rohan is going to log in as a new student to show this data. So again, our idea here is to show the ability of a student or the system to not only predict the problem, but also help you solve the problem as well. So now Rohan is going to show the new student experience, and then he is going to show the student experience as well.
Awesome. So first of all, let me go ahead and share my screen and go over what exactly happens after the AI tutor has been assigned to me as a new student, because like Karen said, I need help and I'm not 100% ready for college as a freshman. So can everybody see my screen okay? Awesome. So I am having a major issue with physics, and that's not a lie. I've been struggling with physics my whole entire life. So clearly the question is, what is the theory of relativity? And as I'm reading all this, I don't understand anything. So we have this help me function, which was available because I have an AI tutor assigned. So first, the AI tutor will be like, before I can help you fill in this, he wants to know what I already know. So sort of like a knowledge check, I guess you can say, or knowing a prereq. So the question is, can you state and explain Newton's 3 laws of motion? So I will easily just go ahead and explain those 3 laws. And once I'm there, it brings me to this problem, and the system, the AI recognizes, oh, I know what I'm doing. I understand that this student knows this, so we can move on to the next portion to make him fully understand this lesson. So now it's asking me to solve this issue. But say I need more help, there's a knowledge check right here. So I can just simply click the knowledge check, and it's, as it says, before I can solve this problem, can I answer the following question, which is, what does Newton's second law state, and how is it applied in calculating the force acting on an object? So like same ways, I can answer it and click and go back to the main lesson once I answered it. And the system recognizes that, oh, he knows this too. So in simpler terms, using gamer logic, it's kind of like I hit this checkpoint, and then before I can level up, I have to do this. So kind of like in your basic everyday video game, you have the current levels and you just got to keep answering them so the system will know, okay, he understands this. Now we can move him up until we understand the lesson. And then if you're asking how this can be done, just like as with the modules that Karen was saying before, this uses the large language model, so it can understand how I'm typing my answers and pretty much enable them to perform a variety of language-based tasks, such as, summarization, translations, and even answering questions as well.
Yeah, and also there's an idea of prompt engineering that comes in place as well, where you, for the same lesson, for the same course, you can assign different prompts, and the prompts can be answered. So we don't want to just use the whole meeting just talking, so we want to get your thoughts as well. So if you have any questions while Rohan gets ready to show a existing student workflow, we will launch our first question as part of the poll. I want to hear what you think about AI. Are you are you one of those people that are excited about AI? Are you thinking that this will, be, end all? Like there's some, initial days of like, well, how it's going to be judgment day type thing. So, but there are some people that are like, as you see in the poll, there's about 20%, about 28% that is still not sure about AI. And some people are scared, it looks like. I would like to hear what you're scared about, because I know there's some of this is, a little bit of media overhyping some of the, initial makings of initial faults of the system. So I understand, but regardless, I think there's a genuine level of excitement, regardless of where you're on the spectrum, on where you are. But if you feel like, if you want to say why you're scared or why you're not sure or why you're excited, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll be happy to listen as well. But just as importantly, we have a couple other questions as well. But let's we'll end this poll to see what the response looks like. So view results. So from the latest question, 75% are excited, about 18% are not sure, and 7% are scared. So not a unanimous thing, but that's my human condition. So while we're doing that, any questions you wanna tackle while we continue to do this? So there is a question.
Yeah, we just had one question come in. Where is the student data coming from? Is it integrated with any PeopleSoft or ERP solution? And should we use your web interface to use this solution?
Yeah, so great question. You wanna so if you can wait for a minute, we can actually show. Actually, you know what, Tim, we want to go ahead and this is probably a good time as any to kind of talk about the AI as a service architecture and how we're building a private AI infrastructure. So one second, while I pull that architecture diagram. But that's a great question. Ultimately, what we are doing with Illuminate Lightleap is a AI as a service, artificial intelligence as a service. And this is just obviously there's a lot of nuts and bolts here. We're not going to dig too deep, but Tim, if you want to jump in and explain this, I'm going to move my pointer around.
Certainly. So I think we'll start over the left-hand side. You come to the chatbot just like you would any chatbot, and you get sent into our main architecture, which is the chatbot backend. It's running on Amazon ECS with a Vue front end and a fast API backend, or I guess that also is the front end. And then the way it works is that it'll authenticate against your SSO. Any SAML authentication will work. And then there are some active login routines that will pull the user context, so that they'll go out and pull personal information from the ERP system, such as username, UDC ID, all of the things that you would need to identify that person to that username. In the background, over to the right-hand side, there are several NLPs that will be used. There's a global model, which is basic. It's not fine-tuned beyond the initial deployment. And then there's the fine-tuned model, which will be institution specific, and that data will be pulled from the ERP, and that NLP will be trained on that data. In the middle, or actually at the top, let's go up to the top. The majority of the data will be put into the Kendra Vector DB, and that will be done through data sources and jobs. So it can pull basically your website, any ERP data you want, basically just about anything institution specific. It will put it in there into the Vector DB, and has a quick way of looking that stuff up and adding that as context before passing it over to the NLP. From there, we also use NER, which is name and entity recognition. So if it comes across a person, a course, basically any object that is actionable, it will identify that, and then the actions will be based upon that. So if it comes across a course, for example, that you can register for, it will pop up in the action box, hey, do you want to register for this course? Then getting further into the analytics, actually, one more thing on the NER. So if it comes across a course that you're registering for, it will also have the option to say predict a grade. So it'll take the user data that it's already collected based on the SSO and the ERP and Kendra, and it will take the required fields out of that and send it to our analytic models to give a grade prediction based on the student performance and a number, I don't know the exact count of different objects that we predict the grade off of, but it's quite a few. And then it sends it to the analytic models. The analytic models are built up of data that is pulled from the ERP system. Going back to the grades processor, just to keep it simple, we pull all of the grade information, drop the unique data, and build these models based on a variety of different columns. And then the data is sent from the chatbot to the analytics model to get that grade prediction. And I believe we have a demo of that later in the slide, but in a nutshell, that's how it works.
So ultimately, I think, yeah, there's another cool question here as well. So Satish, to complete your question, it is integrated with your ERP, but what we are doing as part of the AI as a service is we have each institution will have their own AI tenant that end-to-end is managing. So all the infrastructure you're seeing here is managed, in your own sub account that we manage for you. So that's a big question. Can this tool work with unstructured data? That's great. So Tim, you want to answer that with how we're deploying the S3 container? So yeah, I can answer that, and Tim, if you want to jump in, you can too. So unstructured data can include documents, transcripts, or PDF files, right? So one of the cool things with NLP is, if you haven't played around with it, you can actually test it out with ChatGPT, where you can literally upload a PDF document of, here's my degree requirements, and a PDF document of a transcript, and it will perform a degree audit for you. So it's the same. We are using the same exact technology as part of, but we're not using ChatGPT as a technology. We're using our own models, like I'm showing you here. But our ultimate goal is to support structured and unstructured data. So the structured data goes through this architecture, loads to the Kendra database, and unstructured data goes to an S3 setup, S3 server area, that S3 server container we set up for you, and that is what is used as a source. And as far as NLP is concerned, it doesn't care about relational databases. It can understand, the neural network can understand across the board on multiple different structures, whether it's unstructured or structured. Those are two great questions.
Yep.
Right.
And Kendra itself actually pulls from those S3 data sources, or 100 some different data sources, that whichever ones you choose to set up. So for example, whether it be the ERP system, or if you're pulling, say, just from your public website, it will pull that data in through the data sources and index that, so that it could be searched quickly via LangChain, and then either responded to depending on the score, or it will send that context off to the NLP to get additional clarification on the question.
Great. Cool. I think we're about 2:30, so I know most of you are, sorry, Chad, is there any other question?
Well, it was just one follow-up question. Should we use the user interface presented with the solution, or is there a different UI?
So the user interface, so if you look at the Lightleap as a platform, we just like ChatGPT, we have multiple interfaces to use it with. Obviously, you have the user interface that we're showing, which is a standalone version of Lightleap. But you also have a iframe version where it's just a chat plugin that you can embed into your homepage, your self-service portal, like a PeopleSoft self-service, or your mobile application. But there's also an API interface that you can use where you're building your own UI, UX using our APIs, just like ChatGPT. So because it is your institutional APIs that are configured for your institution, you can use them in either as a direct iframe, direct application through an iframe, or a standalone, or a API interface as well. Cool. So we covered the admissions, we covered the new students, but now we have to do a couple other things. The student is now admitted. Now the registrar's office have to do what's called a transfer articulation, right? So a lot of times this, again, we're only taking some of the thorny issues. So to cover every single function, it'll take almost 3 days. So we took some of the thorniest issue and go to the registrar function of Lightleap. So I'm going to go to the registrar function in a second. And as Tim said, we're going to show you another version of the UI as well as it's loading up. So in the registrar function, you can do a lot of things like degree audit and other functionality, but you can also do things that are more holistic. So let me see. One second. Are there any other questions? Sorry.
Yep,
Yes.
there is. Can you talk about how you train the AI to use the data?
Okay.
Training.
So Tim, you want to take that?
Yeah, I guess at what level are we talking? The vast majority of the data is indexed through the vector database, basically because of how efficient it is to import that and basically get your data in there without having to rebuild the entire model. The actual fine-tuning of the NLP itself is used, basically trained on institution-wide data. It's not something that will be done every day, but it basically sets the context and gives all of the general specific information about the university. But yeah, the vast majority is all done through the vector database, and then the context is passed over to the NLP from there.
Cool. 2:34. So I want to make sure that we kind of stay respectful of everybody's time. So I'm going to dig deeper into the registrar function, and we also have exciting things to show on the student side as well. So from a registrar, obviously there's a lot of things that you do administratively, like allowing students to register better, transfer students to administered. But one of the issues that institutions that we work with have raised a concern about is this idea of transfer articulation, where a lot of students come with different courses from different systems. For example, in this example, the students have come with a student with a course in different systems. So I can view the transcript to basically allow for us to understand what each of this incoming transcript looks like and evaluate automatically based on the information available online. For example, what it does as part of the system is it reviews the incoming transcript and also reviews the transcript data or the curriculum data at the institution and shows the course matching based on these two systems. So there's a lot of functionality that we can show on multiple levels, but actually I want to kind of switch into the actual AI interface. Like since a couple of people asked about how does the AI interface look like, there's one interface I'm showing you on this side where it's just plugged into a a UI system. But at the heart of it, it is just like ChatGPT. So we're going to switch to this platform, and I'm going to take this as an example. Anybody coming from a university or a college, can anybody type in which college you are coming from? I just need one university so that I can start asking it questions. I can start the context for that university or college. Anybody? Okay. Well, I'll
Cal
just
State.
take, okay, let's see it. Cal State. All right, we'll start with Cal State and say, all right, so we'll set the context as Cal State and say, I am interested in, is it a specific campus in Cal State? City.
Northridge.
Northridge, okay. Cal State, Northridge. Where is this campus? So if I'm setting the context here to LightLeap, right now we switch to our existing, like Tim showed, the chat.lightleap.ai interface. So it is right now, we are getting into the action panel. I'm going to hide that for now because it's not relevant. But so in this system, what I've done is, as soon as I asked it, it responds back with basic information. So I can say, great, what are some of the programs offered at this campus? So this is what's called the homepage interface, where they're coming in and asking it. But the difference is, instead of me coming in and setting the context as Cal State Northridge by asking the question, once we set up LightLeap, you can it will automatically set the context so that whatever question you ask, it will automatically respond it within the Cal State as a context. So I can go on and say, again, this is why I asked you guys to tell me which campus you want me to talk about, because I can say, awesome. What are some of the degrees offered by school? I'll just take this. Again, once I configure the system, you don't have to do all this. It will automatically know, because as part of the LLM, we set up what's called micro LLMs for each institution. So that goes into the question about how do we train the data. So the way we train it is by connecting your student information system and training it on terminology, like these are the different programs you offer, these are the different courses you offer, this is your term codes, and the like. So I can go on and on about different parts of this experience. But so the big part of this homepage experience is that you're interacting with the system, but it's pre-configured to your campus, your college, and you can also set up some subdomains so that when the student comes in, they automatically are configured. But if we just do that, it is just like, ChatGPT Lite, right? So we want to show what it would look like for a new student that has just joined. So, and I know, Rohan, you have a new student experience you want to show as well, but I want to kind of show you the prediction algorithm that Tim is talking about. So when a student logs in, it connects to your single sign-on, and it will automatically pull their courses, the courses they completed. But for the most part, students, they can ask them dumb questions like saying, what should I do today? Where it will pull their personal calendar, get their courses they're enrolled in, and respond back to those questions. But most of the time, students are struggling to get the courses they register. So what if the student says, show me my degree plan? And this is completely driven by data, right? So when I say show me my degree plan, now what it's doing is that I'm going to hide this for now, Tim. I know we're exciting stuff for us, but what it's doing is it runs the courses the student has completed and now shows the courses that are upcoming based on not only their degree audit, but also based on the institutional data on all the other students that have completed this trajectory for that program and for that minor. So this degree audit is not just like a standard degree audit based on the requirements, but it's also based on other behavior by similar students like this student. That includes learning patterns, that includes the grades they received, that includes a few other things. But if you just leave it there, that's just like your standard degree audit. Like Tim said, we also have what's called action panel. So I have an action panel here where it sees that these are the courses to register, and it shows that, out of these 7 courses that are there in the upcoming, the student has to take these 4 courses this term, and these courses these are the only courses that have seats. And when I click on register, it will call the PeopleSoft integration broker and register for the system. And that's the, that's the cool thing about the system. It's like pretty quickly we move from information to prediction, information to data, to prediction to action. And you'll see this pattern coming again and again, as we dig deeper. So I'm going to take a couple of stabs on a couple of courses. I forgot the name of Tim, do you have the course that we have the predictions established already? Is it CS 3750? Okay, so let's do another thing. Students obviously want to register for courses and get their degree audit, but they also have to pay their bill. So I'll say, show me my account student bill, or something like that. So show me my account summary or student bill. I think this is where we're kind of getting the logic. One second. Oh, show me my account balance. Sorry. This is where our NLP training is still working on. So show me my account balance. So this is another example of where student shows the list of account balances. And again, right now it's just connected to our student information system inside. So that's why some of the training is still underway. But as you've seen here, instead of going through different pages and buttons and stuff like that, they're showing the account summary. But here's the cool thing. We'll have a ability for student to sign up for payment plan, pay their bill, assign authorized payer, all from behind this, all from the action panel. And this pattern continues. This pattern shows up on different sections. I can ask it questions about a specific course I'm enrolled in. So for example, tell me more about, I don't know the course number, but I'll say if my sandbox had Math 101, I can say, tell me more about Math 101, and it will try to look in the system and answer the question based on the course that I'm asking about. So students can register for courses, pay their bills, and so here's another example. So it could not find Math 101, but it found Math 301 in the system. And this is where the predictions go on steroids, where now what it's saying is, I found these courses, but would you want to predict the grade you get in Math 301? So the way it does that is by doing 3 things. One is based on the students' grades so far, and also the other students like him or her that have finished the course, and based on that, it will do the prediction, and it's completely machine learning based, where it'll do the predictions. And institutions can decide on how they want to use it and embed it into their platform, but the idea here is to give the students the tools they need to do administrative work, like paying their bills, registering for courses, and the like, but also allowing them to succeed in the classroom. So I'm going to take a pause here to take a couple of questions. Then Rohan will log in as a new student, as an existing student, to show you how AI can help you, help him or her learn better in the classroom.
So no questions right at the moment, but you've talked about some predictive models and things like that. How is it being guarded against hallucinations or biases?
Right. Well, I think a lot of times biases and hallucinations are more relevant for systems that are more like public usage, like your ChatGPT or Bard or Gemini, where they're just more for like public information. Our goal is to make it focused on the institutional data assets and institutional systems, but B, also give institutions the controls to set your own controls. You can set up bias controls at each institutional level. There will be configurations at each system, but obviously a lot of this will require institutions to test it out completely and make sure that those controls are relevant. Because again, not to get too controversial about it, is that like sometimes you can set those controls to just by saying, for example, like we were testing out our internal AI chatbot just a couple of days ago, where we said, try to be socially conscious with every answer you give. Like that's just I'm not writing a piece of code. I'm just, putting that as part of the context for the chatbot before I deploy it. And the moment we did it, and we asked questions like, hey, show me my preferred university. And it's like, preferred is, I don't know, it's like using terms like preferred is considered bias or something like that. I'm like, and then it's like, show me the famous scientist. Like, scientist is a loaded term. I'm like, no. So the point is, there's a lot of controls you have available as a part of the system, as an institution. You have to be careful using it, but you have incredible ability to test it. We are not setting your controls for you. We can give you recommendations, we'll give you some suggestions, but you still have to, you still have the flexibility and luxury to set them up. And as far as hallucinations go, I think it's just a loaded term, really. I think there's, unless, while there have been some weird scenarios occurred, most of them were attributed to some like dumb coding errors on Alexa's side or other things where they just let the system make their own decision. We are not making any decisions. As part of Lightleap, we will not make admissions decision. We will not make registration decision. We will not pay your bill. Like, a student still has to make their decisions. There is no automation that will allow us to make decisions for you. We will provide you recommendations, we'll provide you suggestions, but you as an institution or they as a student has to make their own decisions.
We have another question. Yep, before I answer that, we have another question asking if this presentation will be available to access later. And the answer is yes, we record. This one is actually recording as well. So if you go on LightleapAI, then you will see all of our webinars published on there, as well as our YouTube channel too. But if you're asking for this presentation deck that Kieran is showing, then we can send that to you as well. And also, I like to state for everybody, if you want more personalized one-on-one sessions, we can definitely set that up as well. So moving forward, Sharon has already showed you from a current student how it is to pick classes and pay for bills. But I want to show you how we can use Lightleap to better help with understanding lessons and homework and just overall trying to understand the knowledge so we don't fail tests and quizzes, because failing is bad and Fs mean you are getting kicked out of college. So I went to the Shakespeare sonnet and say that I don't understand what sonnet 18 is saying. So I can use the search bar and with the AI and ask, can you explain sonnet 18 better to me? And then we'll just go ahead and Lightleap. And then it automatically gives me an answer to something that I can understand, as I was not able to understand what the sonnet meant at all. Likewise, we can also use it to answer mathematical stuff, as in this situation, I have a calculus quiz coming up and I was horrible in calc. So I don't know what this problem is. I don't know what mean value theorem is, so I can easily use the search bar and ask, what does, whoops, sorry, typo. What does mean value theorem mean? And then again, after clicking the button, it will give me an answer of it. And if you're asking how this is all possible, we connect it to the SISs and the LMS. So for example, say that university is using Blackboard or iCollege or Canva or Canvas, I should say, then it's connected to all those and it'll pull out based off how you learn and the recommendations and everything. And that's just some ways that students can use it to better understand their assignments and everything and be more, efficient and be more prepared essentially for whatever assignments or quizzes or tests they have. Kieran,
Great.
back to you.
Yeah, I think we have about 9 minutes left, and we have a few other things we can show, advising function, bursar function, but I think like one of the participant asked, we can create a Canva deck to, in the Canva deck, we can include some screenshots, and if you are interested in a more deep dive on any of the functionalities, whether it's an admissions or bursar or the registrar, please feel free to ask us, but I'll just kind of show you one last function because this is important. As I said, like you can have the LightLeap standalone, or you can build any cool interfaces like this. So as part of the Bursar's office, we've shown the site of student where students can just click the bill, click show me my account balance, or show me how much I need to pay. And also, but the bursars can also look and see which of the students will default this term or might default this term. Again, this is not based on biases or anything. This is based on purely data. What it has done here is look through all the data in the student information system and ran an analysis and said, based on the outstanding balance, based on the student's number of delinquencies, these are all high-risk students. And as you can see here, it obviously does some metrics and says, this student risk is low because their outstanding balance is, $885 or something. So each of this is based on data, but institutions have ability to allow you to contact the student through the system as well. Institutions, Bursar's office especially, can also do what's called a fraud detection, because a lot of times students' credit cards get stolen, or others steal your credit card, or students accidentally pay wrong amount. So a fraud detection process will allow you to detect if there are any issues, and some issues might be coming up from a payment vendor perspective, where the payment vendor responds back with a failed message. Some issues might be just the system detecting it, and ultimately institution or the bursar's office can make the decisions accordingly. Again, in interest of time, we'll try to kind of stop demos here and I get back to the Canva deck. And I know that all of you are excited here because you're excited about AI and all the things that we can do for you. But we're all here because we really want to truly help students succeed and graduate, because ultimately our goal here is to help your students LightLeap. And the way we are doing it end-to-end is because we have a proven track record on student information system. We built hundreds of APIs over the years, and now we have added the power of Gen AI and built a platform called LightLeap. And our goal, commitment, investment, direction, and focus is to truly empower student success with the power of AI. And we're doing so by building an AI as a service architecture for you. Ultimately, what we're offering to all our institutions is an integrated AI. It is integrated to your student information system, learning management system, and CRM system. It's a customizable AI. You're customizing it to your biases controls, your securities, your student information system, your CRM systems. And ultimately, it is a secure AI. It is built on a multi-tenant architecture where we are building an enterprise-grade AI platform that supports you. And that's why it's called a private AI. The data you're going to service through LightLeap will not be accessible to anybody. We are not giving the data to ChatGPT or OpenAI or anybody else. It is in your system. So we have a beta program going on where we have an incredible option for institutions to sign up. We already have 3 beta partners that are signed up: Ivy Tech, Foothill Lienza Community College, and West Valley Mission District. We still have room for 7 more beta partners to be added by end of this quarter. We'll be super excited to work with you, because we're looking for, in the diffusion spectrum of entrepreneurship or innovation, we're looking for the early adopters that are interested in truly changing the future of higher education and servicing their student. Because ultimately, what we are offering as part of LightLeap is a comprehensive system that works with your student information system, with your learning management system, and all the systems, but it's exposed as its own, standalone platform. It's available as an API. It's available as a plugin. It's available as a chatbot. But behind the scenes, the infrastructure is very complicated, but you don't need to worry about that. Ultimately, we are here to service the student. We want to help the students graduate faster and help them get the service they need by providing tools, technologies, predictions, and use the system in the service of that student success. And we really appreciate you to join this webinar and listening to us. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great Friday, and Rishita, congratulations again.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.